What is up, everybody? It is your local Ottawa fan, and I'm here to talk to you about the 3-1 win over New York. And normally, when I'm talking about a win, it should be nothing but positive vibes. And going into this video, that's what I was expecting. I was expecting a nothing but positive vibes video. But then, just before I hit record, something big went down. Blockbuster trade. In my opinion, biggest trade in PWHL history so far. The Ottawa Charge have traded Savannah Harmon and Haley Skamura for Victoria Bach and Jocelyn Larocque. Let me say this first. I am happy to have Victoria and Jocelyn on the team. I'm the first to say, welcome to Ottawa. We're happy to have you. And you never know. Maybe they are just going to blow us out of the water and we're going to be the ones laughing at the end of this trade. Maybe this is going to be great. I really like Larocque. I think part of where a lot of the anger has come from is the fact that fan favorites got traded. I think Larocque is going to end up being a fan favorite here in Ottawa. I really do. She just seems so likable. And whenever she's on the ice, I don't know, for some reason I'm just like, oof. You know, when she played for Toronto, I was like, oh, I didn't like that. A part of me just felt like something bad was going to happen in Ottawa. So I'm happy that she's on the ice for us now. This trade was made literally not even a full day, like literally hours before our game against Toronto, the team who we made the trade with. Here we are on the second to last day of the year that this mammoth, big trade. Now, first off, a lot of you know that I am a huge Savannah Harmon fan. She was one of the players where I was like, if there were jerseys available of every player on the team, obviously Jenner, Clark, and Mashmeyer were like immediately on my list of like, I might reach for that. Mrazova's there. Harmon was there. Harmon was one of those players, as was Adju, and who's also gone. A lot of fan favorites are gone. A lot of my personal favorites are gone. And we are not even a full 2 seasons in. Grant Mentis, Adja, Harmon, Skamura. It feels like, yeah, and I think that's a big part of this. It feels like if they're a fan favorite, we might as well say goodbye, which would be okay if this team won a whole bunch. And if it was like, well, you got to say bye to your fan favorite in exchange for success. And I know that after our loss against the Frost, I was saying, look, we might need to shake things up. Not after a win. Not after a convincing win against a pretty good New York team. What? We just beat them. That was our last game. It was a 3-1 win against New York where we looked like the better team. Where we won in pretty good fashion. Make the trade after the Minnesota game. I would have gotten it. I would have said, okay, I get it. I hadn't hit the panic button, but maybe they did. Maybe they were like, all right, we got to shake something up. But we clicked. We got it done. And now we're gonna take the player who was our first ever draft selection in our first ever draft, who scored our first ever goal. And hey, at least she finished her first ever season with us, because she didn't finish her second ever season with us. It's a head scratcher, I'm going to be honest. And as for Larocque, a lot of people have been like, look, she's the oldest player in the league, which she is. She is the oldest player in the league. She's also 36. I think she's got a lot of hockey left in her. I think that it makes sense if we're trying to get every ounce of hockey that she has in her. We want it. I get that. We had a nice core, though, that was young and exciting. And again, it gives me reminders of the D'Arcangelo trade. Trading somebody who's young and exciting and is going to make an impact in the future for somebody who is, good veteran presence, but And I have to admit, Dark Angelo's had a much better start this season, and I think that we're getting the Dark Angelo that we wanted now. But yeah, this trade, I think that's going to happen. I can tell you this. If we lose against Toronto and Harman or Skamura gets a goal or a point or something, we're going to get raked through the coals. We're a team that's like wheeling and dealing, it seems. And if this trade works out, then you won't hear another peep from me. You won't hear another peep. But if this goes down as a bad trade, if Skamura and Harman light it up in Toronto, if we miss the playoffs in part because of this trade, this is going to be one of the most regrettable trades ever. If Larocque retires in like a year or two and Harman or Skamura go on to have like 6-7 seasons with the Scepters, we're gonna look like the team with egg on their head. But no egg on our head right now. We're coming off a win. So let's break that down, because I was pretty upset in my last video, in case you couldn't tell, but we had a good win. We had a nice fast start to the game, back and forth, lots of chances right at the gate, very reminiscent of the Boston game, but this time we strike first off of an Emily Clark goal. Let me just say, I've complained about, fan favorite players getting moved. If Emily Clark is ever traded, we riot. I think I gotta make a list of untradables where, like, if this happens, we gotta just go a full meltdown. Twitter, Reddit, every social media that we have to let it be known that these players are untradables. Brianne Jenner for one, obviously, for obvious reasons. Emily Clark, again, for obvious reasons. Emrance Mashmeyer, if they ever even think for a second that they should maybe potentially possibly might opening the conversation to trading Emrance Mashmeyer, I'll take over as GM, okay? I'll take over. I will step in. I will bear that cross if that's what it takes to keep those 3 players in Ottawa for life. I mean, there's a reason why they were, immediate sign them. Jinsey Rose, I'd say, is the same. I also am going to go with Katerina Mrazova. She's got to be a charge for life. She's got to be charged for life. If she isn't, there's something seriously wrong. Those players, gotta keep them at all costs. But I do get it. I mean, in the NHL, Wayne Gretzky got traded. You know what happened? The Oilers won the Cup 2 years later. So I do get it. I do get that, like, sometimes we need to make tough trades if it's going to be in service of more wins. And I'm glad Emily Clark is still a charge. I'm glad Emily Clark's on the team still, because huge goal. New York almost scores. Teralova makes a wonderful goal line stop. It is like right near the line, and she just gives it a little poke check, keeps the game 1-0, and we take a penalty. This was a game with a lot of penalties on both sides and no goals on the power play. Good that we got the stops, bad that we aren't getting the power play goals. We are going to need those. We have had an abysmal power play. I mean, I think we have, 2 power play goals on, I think it's 15 attempts? We've let a jailbreak goal in, so, I mean, when you got 2 power play goals and 1 jailbreak goal against, that's not good. Those are not the numbers that you want. But the first penalty kill, masterful. You could hardly even tell New York was on the power play. Then we take another one. It's a little shakier, but we're still up by 1, and we go into the second, up 1-0. I don't like taking penalties, but I do like being up. And I was thinking, if they can settle down the penalties and take control of the game, we'd be okay. But I was like, but if we keep taking penalties, that could burn us. And we take an early penalty in the second period. Now, I think there should have been 2 penalties. New York threw our stick afterwards. That's not called, but whatever. You gotta deal with those calls sometimes. We get another kill, and then we get a very, very weird play, and it is Dark Angelo who scores this goal. So again, I know I've been complaining about trades. Well, Dark Angelo's the one who scored the insurance 2-0 goal, and it is a goal that I've been saying that we need to score. New York crashes into their own goaltender. We do not push them in. It is not goaltender interference. It is just the momentum taking them into their own goalie. And Dark Angelo heads up play. Realizes the situation. Was it the prettiest, most amazing shot in the world? I mean, it was. It beat the goalie, right? But it was not like setting up. They weren't looking for the perfect pass or really making sure to get the perfect shot. They put the puck on net because they knew the goalie was out of position. And good things happen when you put the puck on net when the goalie is out of position, when the goalie is in no position to make a save. It goes in the back of the net, and all of a sudden, it is a 2-0 game for Ottawa. And these are the types of garbage goals that we don't get. When we scored this goal, that's when I was like, are we doing something here? Because we don't score goals like these typically. Typically, a play like this happens, and we would pass the puck, or the shot would be wide, or we would shoot it right into the chest of Schroeder, and not, where there's a little bit of daylight, and trusting that, hey, like, their own player is kind of on top of them right now. I don't think they're going to make a save. They didn't. It's 2-0 Ottawa. And not too long after that, Katarina Mrazova scores to make it 3-0 Ottawa. What a period. What a game. And now this wasn't like right off a rebound, but it was off a rebound. Again, these are goals that I'm happy to see. And this is where I'm like, I'm not super opposed to the trade in principle, because there are some things that this team needs to be better at. For one, having a bit more defensively minded player is good. Jocelyn the Rock is going to be good in that aspect, and I think she's going to help shore up our defense. And when we have a goaltender like Emryn Smashfire, that could save us a whole lot of games, a whole lot of points, a whole lot of wins. And I feel like offensively we've never been like a machine, quite like some other teams, like say Montreal. So while and that's the thing, it really, really sucks that Skamura is gone. Like I want to emphasize that I am really upset. But we aren't a team that's super duper known for our offense. So losing a key offensive piece to get a key defensive piece might be smart, because we're probably gonna have to win a lot of games by scores like this, 3-1, 3-1, 2-1, 2-0. I don't see us getting a lot of 6-4 wins. Right now, I don't see that happening. I see us winning close, gritty, tight games where goals are few and far between and hard to come by. And us finding a way to just chip away and get those goals. And this was a perfect example of us taking those opportunities. Those mad dashes, those scrambles in front of the net, those broken plays, goalie out of position, taking what little they give us and making something out of it. And that's exactly what Mrazova does. It's 3-0. And after this goal, we fan on a chance, and another gets saved. But I'm okay. It's 3-0. We get a power play. Venisova gets a break. Can't score, but she had first off, a really great game by Venisova. I got to emphasize it. She played really well despite not scoring. She had a very good game, very noticeable player with a lot of good opportunities, and draws a penalty. And our power play, it looks good, but we don't score as is usual. New York gets a great chance, and Maschmeyer robs Fillier, and New York throws the puck up and out without deflection, and we go right back to the power play. Again, looks good, but not great. We can't do anything. Like, we get some momentum going, which is nice, but ultimately we don't score and actually take a penalty of our own with a second left on the power play. And so now we need to come up with another kill. This is by this point in the game, it is our 4th kill of the game, which we do kill it off. And thankfully, it would also go down as, I believe, our last kill of the game, which is what we need. Penalties are killing us. So I'm glad to see that was addressed between the second and third period. And in the third period, it just takes 23 seconds for Fillier to score and make it a 3-1 game and make me feel a little bit uncomfortable. Am I seeing an old Ottawa team? Am I seeing that same old story? Because the first 40 minutes were great, and we're up 3-0, and I do not want to see it come crashing down, and it doesn't. It doesn't crash down. It's our only mistake of the game. Our next shift is good. Even though New York has clearly woken up, we keep pace with them. We have 5 uninterrupted minutes. There's like no whistle for 5 straight minutes, but we do get a whistle for a power play and a chance to bury them. We don't, but we do burn 2 minutes off the clock, and I'm okay with that because the rest of the game we shut them down. They do get their chances, don't get me wrong, but Maschmeyer does a good job, the defense does a good job, and we hold them off. 3-1 is your final, and Ottawa wins, setting up a very pivotal game against Toronto because Boston just lost to Montreal. Meaning this game against Toronto, a team who we are now tied with in points, will decide who's going to be in 4th place. It's early in the season, but you obviously want to be playing from a playoff position. That's where you want to be. You want your games after this to be from a playoff position where you're creating separation, not hunting teams down. Because that's always harder. It's always harder. If you're already in a playoff position, you just need to match the teams below you. That's all you gotta do. But if you're chasing a team, you gotta have other. Now, I know it's early. I know it's early in the season. But now is the time to get back on the horse. We had a bit of a rough start. Like I said, 1 win and 4 losses. 3 in regulation. Not good. Not good. But now we got another win. Another regulation win. We got the full 3 points. We go into Toronto and get a win, especially a regulation win. We're right back in it. We are right back in it, not just in terms of the race, but mentally being there. If we have a 3-1 record, we're right there. We're right there. I mean, I want to call it 500, but of course, it's not points 500. But you get what I mean. We're close. It's gonna be a wild ride seeing this next game with all 4 players playing on their new teams. Hopefully this will go down as a good trade for the Ottawa Charge. At the very least, hope it doesn't go down as one of the worst in PWHL history. At worst, I hope it's just kind of a not great trade. I don't know. It's weird. After a win like this, lots of positives. There's a big feeling that this trade could haunt us. But it could be the opposite. Maybe Larocque is going to really solidify us on the back end. You got to trust that that's why we made this trade. You got to trust that there's something that the staff see that, maybe us fans don't. And of course we're going to have, fan goggles on. Of course we're going to be like, yeah, it's Skamura. How could you trade her? if it's going to lead to a better and brighter future for the Charge, I'm here for it. And as always, go Ottawa, go.